today I'm going to show you how to crumb coat a cake and cover it in fondant, or you might know it as sugar paste icing. And the first thing you need to do is obviously make your cake. So I've got 3 8-inch cakes that I made a couple of weeks ago. You can make them up to a month in advance and freeze them, but it's important that you wrap them, before you put them in the freezer, you wrap them in greaseproof paper and then in a couple of layers of cling film like this. And then, so you've wrapped it in cling film 2 or 3 times, and then before you do that, you wrap it in greaseproof paper, just so that it doesn't allow any water to get in to the cake. So you've got your 3 layers, or it can be 2, doesn't have to be 3. And first of all, what you need to do is get the cake arranged in a way so that it's level at the top. So what I would normally do is turn one of them upside down, because the bottom side of the cake is normally flatter than the top. I tend to cut my cakes, I don't know if you can see that, just shave the top off them before I put them in the freezer, because it's easier to do it then than when it's when it comes out of the freezer and it's rock solid. So just arrange your cakes as you think looks good and flat. So when you've got them in a position where you can see there's a nice flat surface on the top, you score a line with a sharp knife just along any of the edges, really, just so you can see exactly where you want to place them when you put them back. So you've got your lines there, and you know that this is the top one and that's the middle. So you've got your first cake there ready to ice. Now I'm doing mine on a chopping board because I want to cover my cake board in a different sugar paste. This cake's going to be covered in red, and I want the base to be in orange, which is why I'm doing it on a chopping board. You can, if you're happy with the base and the cake to be in the same colour, you can do it straight onto the cake board. So the first thing to do is you've got some buttercream icing. So this is just 150 grams of butter, 400 to 500 grams of icing sugar, and a bit of milk if the mixture's too stiff to spread. And then just chop the end off. You can get these disposable icing bags in any craft shop, really. I tend to go to Hobbycraft because that's the nearest to me. And so the point of this is that because I'm going to do Victoria sponge, so I'm going to put buttercream and then jam. We want to make a little moat for the jam so that it doesn't spill out. So we've done that. So first of all, you can just get your cake spatula and some buttercream and just spread it on the top, nice and generously. And just let it kind of fall over the edges so that there's no kind of gaps, because you can neaten all of that up once you get to the end stage. So it doesn't have to be particularly neat at the moment, it's just kind of put on like that. So then you get your disposable piping bag, chop the end off, and then you want to make a little moat for the jam so that it doesn't come out. So just give it a gentle, I haven't chopped enough off there. Make sure you chop enough off so that it can actually come out of the bag. So, and then you just gently squeeze and go all the way around the outside edge of the cake, like so, making sure you join at the end. And then you get your delicious jam. I've got raspberry jam, seedless, my preference. You can use anything. You can use apricot jam, marmalade, do whatever you want really. Might might be a bit weird with marmalade. And then you can just coat the middle with that, with the jam. Squish it all on, and then get a knife, just a normal butter knife, and just spread it around evenly on the cake surface. So once you've done that, then you can put your next layer on, and if you remember, we scored the cakes so they had a nice flat top, so they would all look very neat. So you need to find the bit where you score. So there's our little score there. So we get the second one and it's scored there, so we just put it on top of the, so it's in line with the score on the bottom one. And then you do the same for this layer. So you can see what the jam looks like. You've got your little moat there and then filled in with jam. So you've got your 2 layers, and then you can put your 3rd layer, find your little scoring point again, which is there, and you can put your top layer on, which should be your best, most flattest layer. And as I say, it's best to normally turn it upside down because it's flatter. The bottom side of the cake tin will normally make it a nice flat level edge so that your final cake will look all neat and tidy. So that's your cake, you've done your fillings. So now you've got your buttercream left from the fillings, and you're going to spread it all over the cake and round the sides, and give it what we call a crumb coat. And once that's done, it will then go in the fridge. It only needs to go in the fridge for 10 minutes. If you're doing it over a period of time, you can leave it in the fridge for a few hours, it doesn't matter. But if you're in a hurry, you can leave it in the fridge, 10 minutes, and it'll be ready to put the sugar paste fondant on. So just spread it across the top, and then when you do the sides, just whack those on. Don't worry about being too neat and tidy, because you can tidy it all up once it comes out, before it goes into the fridge, and then again once it comes out. So just whack it on and then go round. It's kind of like plastering, so you just want to make sure it's a nice smooth surface basically. And my cake is moving around a bit, so at the start it's good to put a bit of buttercream on the chopping board or whatever you're using, just so that the cake stays still and doesn't start flying around everywhere, as it is right now. Keep going until you've got a nice smooth edge. It's always best to put loads on, because it's easier to take it off by perfecting it. You can't perfect it if you haven't got enough icing on it in the first place. So just keep going round. Quite a messy process, but it's quite satisfying at the end. And you've got a nice neat cake. Just make sure the top is level as well, because you might have put a lot of icing on and then you've sort of made it not as level as it was when you first started icing it. Okay, so just go around filling any cracks in. It's a bit like doing your makeup. And a crumb coat is just to make the cake nice and solid and smooth for you to put the fondant on it easily. So I think we're nearly ready to put this bad boy in the fridge. And obviously it's useful to have one of these turnstile pieces of equipment which you can get from Hobbycraft or anywhere that sells cake stuff really. I think they call it a turntable, cake turntable. When it comes out of the fridge, that's when you can neaten it up a bit, and I will show you how to do that after this has been in the fridge for a bit. Whilst your cake is cooling in the fridge, you can knead your sugar paste ready to put it on cake. So I just use Renshaw ready to roll icing. You can get that from Hobbycraft, or supermarkets sell it in white, I think, these days. And for an 8-inch round cake that's got 3 layers, I would say you need about 1 kilogram. So one of these is 500, so you need 2. For a 6-inch round cake, you probably need 750 grams, and you can buy these in 250 gram packs, so you just need 3 of them for a 6-inch cake. So what you need to do is to knead this. First of all, make sure your surface is clean and dry. There's one thing sugar paste does not like, it is water. Much like, what doesn't like water? A cat? I don't know, do cats not like water? Who knows? So, just start to bring it together with your hands, and I would say set a timer to make sure that you knead it for about 5 minutes altogether. And you want it to be, the reason you want to do that is because if you don't, when you roll it out and put it on your cake afterwards, it's likely to get cracks in it if it's not been kneaded well, and you'll get holes in the sugar paste, which is not what you want. You want a nice smooth finish. So you keep kneading it for at least 5 to 10 minutes until it's warm to touch. So at the moment it's kind of cold, but once you get to the point where it's warm to touch, kind of room temperature, then you know that it's ready. And it's quite a good workout to tone your arms, so you can miss out your cardio, or it's not cardio, is it? Whatever it is that you do to tone your arms. So just keep going with it. Once you have kneaded your sugar paste for a good 5 minutes, it should look like this, so nice and smooth and shiny. Just wrap it in a little bit of cling film, just so that it doesn't dry out whilst you're getting the cake prepared to put it on. So wrap that up, and then what you need is a flask of hot water. I find a flask is best because you can put your cake smoother in it. If you just have a tea towel ready, the idea is that the heat from this, you've got boiling water in there, you leave that in for a few seconds, and then you wipe off the water, and the warmth, it'll be warm to touch. The warmth of this will allow you to smooth over the cake, and at the same time whilst making it a little bit tacky, that's how the sugar paste will stick to the cake. So you're kind of doing 2 things in one. You're making sure the cake is nice and smooth. Just keep going with this, and then with the sides, I like to go, is that vertically? Yeah, vertically from bottom to top, like that, because it makes it, if you go horizontally, you can sometimes still see the different layers of the cakes, but if you do it like this, it makes it appear sort of all in one, if you see what I mean. So just sort of fill in any little gaps. The heat from the spatula will help you do that, and you can smooth it all off as you go. And then these little edges that you get at the top, you just simply drag them in towards you with the spatula, and that gets rid of them and makes it nicer. So you keep going round until you've done the whole of the cake, so that every single inch of the cake has been smoothed and is tacky, ready to receive your lovely red, or whatever colour you've chosen, icing. Oh, it's quite Christmassy red, isn't it? It's a coincidence, but it's Christmas. So just keep going all the way round, making sure it's all nice and smooth. You can put it to one side so you can kind of see it looks a lot smoother now, and the edges. Now roll out your icing. So you want to make sure that the surface that you're rolling out on is nice and dry, and you're just going to sprinkle some lovely icing sugar so that it doesn't stick to the surface. So I should have a little shaker, but I don't, so I'm just going to do this. Just do quite a big space. Perfect. See, it's all there. And you've got your rolling pin, long rolling pin, and you want to get 2 of these rubber rings that you can get in any cake shop. You can get them in Hobbycraft actually. And what you do, the purpose of them is to make sure that you're rolling the icing out to the same thickness all the way along the piece of icing. So you put one on each end of the rolling pin, and then you're good to go. So you can unwrap your icing. You can just start rolling it out. So just roll it, spin it round 45 degrees, and then roll it some more. Just keep spinning it round so that it's rolled out nice and evenly. And just keep going until it's big enough for the cake. Now, how do you know that it's big enough for the cake? Well, I'm going to tell you. So what you do is, oh word, my word. So you get a piece of string, which I'm going to get, and then I'm going to show you how to make sure that you've rolled it out enough that it's going to cover the whole cake and the board. If you're covering the board as well, you might be covering the board separately, like I am. It's quite nice to cover the board as well with it because it's all in the same colour and there's no, you can't see any edges because it's all joined into one. So I do like to do it that way, but this customer that I'm making this for is having a different coloured board. So just, you can smooth it out with your hands. The heat from your hands will stop any cracks developing as well, so don't be afraid to use them. Obviously make sure they're clean. So then what we're going to do, so what we do here is we get a piece of string and you put it over one side, all the way across the middle, down the other side, and then you just chop it off from the edge of the second side so you can see how long it is. So that's basically your size of cake. So, and how do you check that you've got enough? Well, you should be able to turn it within the icing, and there should always be icing where there is string. So now you're ready to cover your cake. Just do one last thing. Just get one of these cake smoothers. This is also something you can buy in a craft shop, in Hobbycraft, and just smooth the icing all over. Just make sure there's no blemishes on it. And then when this goes on the cake, you'll be using it as well, so keep it handy. Just bring it up. You have to be quite sort of firm with it, and just pop it over the cake. First thing to do very quickly is to get the top smoothed down. It's better like this. So then, what you want to do is pull it out like if you notice the sides are cracking as the icing's pulling it down, just if you smooth it with your hands, the heat will stop any further cracks. So you just keep going, pull each kind of skirt bit, pleat if you like, out. Just keep pulling it out and smoothing the cake down. Again, make sure you've got clean hands, obviously. So you just keep going until you can get your hands all the way down to the bottom of the cake. Like this, so then you've got a surface there. Just keep going round until that's the case with the whole cake. Once you've kind of flattened it out, and the skirt is all flat on the bottom, you can smooth the edges with the icing smoother, and just keep going round and just do little circular motions like that. Smooth finish. And then we're obviously going to cut away the excess. So then you need to get a sharp knife and cut round, just cut circular round to cut off the icing. It's going to take a seat now because I'm getting rather hot with all that smoothing out. So what you want to do, just cut away the excess roughly first of all. You can neaten it up. Once you've done that, so you've got all of that, and you can just knead it up, roll it all up into a ball, and put it in some cling film, and that will keep for your next cake or decoration. So, if you see the edge here, what I'm going to do is just cut bits off, and then just do that around the whole cake, just cutting the edges off, and then once you've done that you can go around with the smoother again. Once you've cut all the edges off, just go around giving it a quick smooth in circular motions, making sure it's nice and smooth. So then what you want to do is leave it overnight or for a few hours, and you'll find that it hardens up, at which point you can do more smoothing. And yeah, I hope you liked the video. I hope you found it useful. Happy baking, guys. Ciao for now.